Hey, what's up everybody? I'm going to try and make this video really short because I have this conversation every day with parents and teachers, and it needs, I don't see a whole lot of these videos or these conversations posted on the internet. I see a lot of the negative videos, lots of videos bashing Common Core and the new way that we teach math. I'm in Texas. I train teachers in Texas. I've taught elementary, middle, and high school math, and I got my degree in math. So I will talk a lot about Texas standards. Well, not a lot, but I'll talk about Texas standards. But Common Core, since we didn't adopt Common Core standards, but we pretty much teach math the exact same way. It's pretty much identical. I get very passionate when people start bashing the new way that we teach math because it's an opinion that is it's an uneducated opinion, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just that we see plainly that we have all these different ways of showing kids how to do certain problems, writing out the problems, breaking apart the numbers, and there are a lot more steps. And so we automatically think, well, there are more steps. Why are you doing this? It's harder for my kid. We're doing that because we're teaching kids how to understand math, not just do math. We're generations of kids that were taught how to do math, memorize steps and algorithms, borrow, carry, regroup, line things up on the left, line things up on the right, how many decimal places were there, count it over, put the decimal point there. We're no longer doing that to kids. That's why I get so upset about it. Because for someone to say that we're ruining kids, and that's one of the things I've heard, you're ruining kids, bring common sense back into the math classroom. I take issue with that because I'm not in the business of telling kids what to think. I'm not in the business of telling kids what to do. I'm in the business of teaching kids how to think. And so when we draw out those standard algorithms, the old school way, the ways that we were taught, when we draw those out, break them apart piece by piece, kids start to gain number sense. And when they start to gain number sense, they start to see mathematical relationships, algebraic relationships, and how numbers are related to one another. And it gets to the point where they're able to do very difficult math problems in their head. And they no longer have to write out an algorithm. Algorithms are there because they're the most efficient way to get to the answer algorithmically. In other words, the fastest way, least amount of steps to write. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the fastest way to solve the problem. I have kids that could do long division, 3x2 long division in their head simply because they started to understand the place value. Place value is huge. This is the reason why we're breaking apart all these operations, add, subtract, multiply, divide. We break apart all these different algorithms because unitizing is the root of all evil in math. It is our place value system. It's the basis of base 10. Unitizing is where we take a group of something and rename it as one. In other words, we teach this to 6-year-olds, and it's like saying 1 dozen eggs has a value of 12. 1 pair of socks has a value of 2. Well, when you're talking about it in a number system, unless kids get their hands on something concrete or pictorial, they don't quite understand that in 345, the 3 actually has a value of 300, the 4 is a 40, and then you have your 5. Okay, especially when we do algorithms and we call we call the numbers by their digits rather than their value name. So I've got another video that outlines all of that in detail, but I wanted to make this one really quick. So the reason why we teach math the way that we teach math is because we're teaching kids how to understand math, not just do math. So never fear, because we still are teaching those standard algorithms. It's just the last thing we teach the child in that grade level. So, oh my gosh, my second grader is pulling apart all these numbers and doing all this crazy stuff. It's okay, just wait. The teacher's gonna get to that standard algorithm, the one that you know. They're gonna get to it, but it's the last because it is the most condensed and it is the one that obscures the place value. So we need them to understand place value first so they can understand the algorithm and how it works rather than just by memorizing it, okay? Because when they can add, they can subtract. When they can multiply, they can divide. So, that it follows through with everything that they do. So quit bashing Common Core, quit bashing the new way that we teach math. It's to get kids to understand and make mathematical relationships and understand what they're doing. It will help them in the long run, so you don't have to help them with their middle school and high school math. Okay, so just bear with your teachers. They're in this learning curve with you. If you have any questions, post them down here. I'll try to get to them. I'm happy to talk to you about this. I'm very passionate about the way that we teach math to kids. Okay, it's all about understanding. We want them to be problem solvers, not just learn how to solve problems. Okay.